Hey, this is Zoe Williams of the Voice of Reason and So What Morning Shows here at Dash Radio. Listen, everybody on YouTube, you guys have been a tremendous support for my shows, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in every week and, participating. But I'm serious than a mug. We need your help on the GoFundMe campaign. We really want to do the VOR radio network, and I'm asking you personally, each and every one of you, we're over nearly 24,000 strong here on the channel. We need you to support by donating. Just click that little button down there and it'll take you directly to the GoFundMe campaign. It's gofundme.com/Zoe Williams. Anything you can do is greatly appreciated. It continues our movement. It continues our forward progress. And I appreciate you all who have already donated. If you can do it again, I thank you so much. Thanks again. So what? I'm out.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss a woman's ass. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Back at Dash Radio on a Wednesday afternoon from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You already know that today's topic is crazy. I know we have difficult discussions. Listen, if this is your first time ever tuning into the Voice of Reason, please understand what we do in this brief synopsis. I'm your ringleader. I know a lot of women get upset with me because they think because I'm directing the show that these are somehow my beliefs. I'm posing questions. Okay. Protagonist, antagonist. Trying to put some stuff out there so we can think different perspectives. But we cover relationship topics. And specifically, we're mining for female answers. Female answers. I want to know what ladies think, what women think about these topics. I want to know how you feel. You got to share with me. Now, I'm going to say this. This is a judgment-free zone. We not going to talk crazy, but we definitely want you to know that this is a safe place for you to share your thoughts and opinions. Does that mean I'm going to agree with everything you say? No. Sometimes I disagree on purpose. Just to see if you have a counter move, like Kobe. Let me tell you how great Kobe was. This is a Kobe rant right now. I'm a Laker fan, I'm sorry. Let me tell you how great Kobe was. This is a metaphor to fit the point. Kobe was so good offensively that as a defender, if you took something away, he always could do something else. And he could do that up to 5 or 6 moves. So you take this away, he has that. You take that away, he has this. You take this away, he has that. And it's back and forth all game long. Jesus, right. I tried to take his right away, he came with his left. Mm-hmm. I tried to take the jump shot away, he took me to the cup. I tried to take the cup away, he took me to the 3.
Right.
I tried to take the 3 away, he hit me with the fall away. Jesus. That's all I'm saying. You got to be that way ideologically. And the only way to find out if you're like that or in need of developing that is to be challenged on what your current thought process is. Jesus. A lot of people don't like to be challenged. Well, we're going to challenge your ass on this show, goddammit. I know. It ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. You might have a breakdown. But in order to get the breakthrough, you need to break down. Do you mind if I break your punk ass down? Somebody call me right now, 323-230-4610. Let me tell you who's in the building. Fan favorite. A lot of people love her. Oh, I love this dichotomy in here today. Fan favorite. They love her. They call her Mimi.
What's up?
Mistress of the monkey.
Oh, shoot.
They love Mimi. Lord have mercy. They be like, man, you do yourself a favor, nigga. Have Mimi on more often. She got that grown woman perspective, not them little young dumbass chicks you be bringing. They like, damn, why you so mad? Ain't your daughter the same age, nigga?
Right.
Jesus. Some of these lessons could help your daughter.
Right.
Why you beating them up over that? Mimi, welcome to the show, honey.
Thanks for having me. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? And
For the people who want to know, what are your handles? Where do they follow you? Where do they find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter, Michelle A. Dukes. And then you can also find me on Instagram. And I'm Cat Eyes Mimi.
Cat Eyes Mimi. Lord have mercy. This is beautiful. Then you have to your right.
Yes.
I'm going to change your name. We got to borrow a little ice cube here.
Oh, no. It's happening today?
Yes.
Okay.
The niggeress you love to hate.
Right.
Oh, God.
Tiff Ram is in the building. They be hating Tiff.
I don't even be noticing because I'll be honest, I don't check the YouTube comments that often.
They be like, that nigga Zoe must be fucking.
They say that a lot when I do check the comments. I'd be like, no, I promise you that has not happened.
This is the bullshit. Zoe fucking. Okay, niggas. Jesus. But I love it. We gonna call you the niggeress you love to hate.
I like that.
I can take it.
She can take. Oh, okay. Are we talking about the same thing? Okay, cool. Welcome to the Voice of Reason, ladies and gentlemen. Today's topic, I can't stress enough. It's hella vital to our relationships, man. It's hella vital. Some people have a real fucked up ideation about this particular topic. And before I go into it, I got a couple of things I need to promote. Do I have a copy of it? I think I left it out in the lobby. You got to get my book, The Relationship Dismount. How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. Listen, man, I'm not like the regular relationship. I'm not going to call myself an expert. I think that's disrespectful. I'm not like the regular relationship specialists. You know, I lead with my flaws. I lead with my weaknesses. I think a lot of relationship specialists try to come across as I'm evolved or, you know I'm special. You know, God gave me this gift kind of thing. And I think that's unfair because real gifts come from struggle.
True.
A lot of people don't understand that. Like, you got to go through something in order to have that epiphany. I didn't design life this way. That's just kind of how life is. You know, you go through some shit and you glean something from having gone through it. So, you know, I never want to come across as, you know, the expert. But I do have some insights, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of those insights are detailed in my 2015 book, The Relationship Dismount. How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. And when I tell you, that damn book is hot monkey lava.
Ooh-wee.
I know people, but what is hot monkey lava? How do you sell a book talking about monkeys and lava? I'll tell you this. Tiffany read it.
Oh, yes. I'm still reading it. This is not just something you sit down and read in a weekend, like maybe I had anticipated doing.
Really?
It's I thought I was going to have like a meditation weekend and just kill it. But no, like this is a process. Like I'm doing all of the exercises. I've gone back and reread chapters, redoing exercises. Like this is like something you should probably read once a year to just like read, dig deep inside yourself.
That's what it's for.
Wonderful.
That's what it's for. So, very powerful book. And then I would say this, the follow-up.
Whoa.
Jesus. Let me just give up a quick update for the follow-up. I know I've been saying September, but it's starting to look like December.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I want it to be right.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
That follow-up is ugly. The holographic relationship. A deeper look at the connection between consciousness, God, and intimacy.
Fire.
You guys might think this is disrespectful, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't really care. I'm writing this book with the same mentality as, say, Michael Jackson making Thriller.
Hey.
All right now.
So in my mind, I'm saying this book is going to replace the Bible.
Hey.
No,
in a good way.
Right.
That's just how I'm like, this book is going to be right next to the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Dharmapada, the Tao. Like, it's going to be right there with them. I want it there. Maybe I'm just egomaniac. No, you got to get it. It's available on my website for pre-order right now. And that is IamZoeWilliams.com. I'm done with the promos now. Let's get to today's topic. This is going to hurt, ladies.
Yeah.
Wait, I love your voice. Let's get that right up there.
Okay, here we go.
There you go, baby.
My mic sound.
Yeah. Let's get it. The death of redemption. How difficult is it for a man or a woman to redeem him or herself after committing acts of domestic violence?
Difficult.
Is there domestic violence double standard?
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is.
Fuck. I got questions. You know what? I'm going to wait for the questions. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to go into the questions and the discussion. I want to welcome everybody to the Voice of Reason again. If you're just tuning in, today's topic is a doozy. The death of redemption. How difficult is it for a man or a woman to redeem him or herself after committing acts of domestic violence? Is there a domestic abuse double standard?
Yes.
We'll be back at 2.2 with the answers to these questions and more on the Voice of Reason. I'll holla in a second. Deuces. Yeah. Back in the building. The Voice of Reason is live. The death of redemption. How difficult is it for a man or woman to redeem him or herself after committing acts of domestic violence? Well, as is commonplace, you already know I have questions. Ladies, will you allow me to ask these questions?
Yes.
Do I have your permission?
Si, senor.
And listen, if you guys are following me on Twitter, I just went live on Periscope and Twitter. So you guys can, retweet the link. Get everybody out here so they can see what's going on. Or going on, depending on, your nomenclature. Here we go. It's tough show today. Is there a double standard in society concerning the ways in which men and women should handle their anger? More specifically, violent behavior. If so, why? The number to dial is 323-230-4610. Is it because of the traditional stereotypes that exist in mainstream society about how women and men ought and should behave? 323-230-4610. Call us right now. Is it because of the traditional stereotypes? What is a stereotype? I want to know. How should men act stereotypically as it pertains to women and violence and aggression? And how should women act stereotypically as it pertains to violence and aggression? 323-230-4610. True or false? Jesus. From an early age, children are exposed to media stories and poems depicting what is expected of each sex. Yikes. Sugar and spice and everything nice.
Right.
Is that true? I don't know. Ladies, if you've slapped the hot sauce taste out your man's mouth, because there's women out there slapping men.
Oh, yeah, they're out there.
Putting straight moon, the motherfucker who had said.
Right.
A lot of times women feel justified. I went through your shit. I found what I knew was true before I went through it. I got my confirmation. This slap you are owed.
Right. You need this.
You need this for your life.
Right.
323. Nursery rhymes such as, what are little girls made of? And what are little boys made of? Plant the early seeds of girls being sweet as sugar and spice and boys being up to no good with snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. This is the beginning. This is the form. This is the foundation of boys are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody talk to me about it. I don't know. True or false? Unfortunately, societal expectations and stereotypes play a large role in our impressions of how people should act. And violence is no different. When women commit violent acts, they are not displaying typical behavior because girls are not made of puppy dog tails and all the bullshit men are made of. Is there a double standard regarding domestic violence?
Yes.
Regarding domestic violence, true or false? Men create more damage when they are violent towards women. Parenthetically, statistics show that women hit more than men do.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe that.
I believe that too.
Shit, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to it. And then, oh my God. Well, that's later. I'm not going to give all of the jewels away right now. That's later. We've got ladies in the building right now. Ladies who've experienced things, ladies who've seen things. I want to talk to you guys about the double standard. Have you seen women cross the line and have you seen men cross the line?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we already know. Mimi, just go ahead. Shit.
Yes, I've seen both. I've seen women cross the line. I've seen some women, they are very aggressive to their men. They slap them, they hit them, and then they expect not to be hit back because they feel like they're a woman and they feel like, hey, I'm mad and you deserve to be slapped. And then I've also been on the other side of the fence where I've been slapped and I've been abused. So I've actually seen both things, but I've noticed that men, it's stereotypical that they do it more, but as Zoe just mentioned, women do it all the time, but they just don't expect a response for what they do and what they say.
Wow. Yikes. Ugh. This is tough. Tiffany Ram.
Yes, I have witnessed both, and unfortunately also been part of both myself. So I have
too. Shit,
I have
been
once
there.
in my life put my hands on a man, and in turn, unfortunately, have had that same man put his hands on me twice. So yeah, I can kind of speak on both sides. But as a double standard, I'll say that I think I felt way more ashamed as like myself letting it happen and like how it got there than society will ever make you feel. Like my friends and family, like you said, would like literally laughed when I called them crying, like, well, this is what I did. Oh my God. And they were like, and what? Like they really didn't care, in regards to if I would have been a man giving the same exact like recall, like they would have been pissed.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Listen, let's talk about it. Is domestic abuse a relationship deal breaker? 323-230-4610. Call us right now. 323-230-4610. Ooh. 323-230-4610. Somebody call us right now. Is it a deal breaker? Because listen, the same way the media shapes our mindset with regards to puppy dog tales and sugar and spice, they also shape our ideas about how to respond to violence.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, let me just say, when men are violent towards women, men can kill women.
Yes.
That has to be clear.
Yeah.
Right? Women may not, just on sheer physical strength, may not be in a position to kill men, but that doesn't mean women have not killed men.
Right.
Right? So we have to look at it as a human thing and not necessarily a stereotypical gender thing.
Right.
And a lot of times, I always tell people, once shit gets to the news, it's now in a fairy tale book because news is theater. It's theatrics.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the news is not about uniting people. The news is about creating separation. It's not about developing understanding. It's choose a side. There's a lot of, that's why the court of public opinion is about judgment. It's not about understanding. It's you was wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh man, this shit's about to get crazy. I don't know if niggas is ready for this conversation. Goodness. Regarding domestic violence, can it be said that there is such a thing as female privilege?
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
Yikes. They didn't think I was going to ask that question. My engineer's sitting here like, eek. Female privilege when it comes to domestic violence?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Can you guys talk about that? I'm going to get out your way now.
Definitely there's female privilege. If a cop is called to the scene and there's a male and a female, off the top, they think the woman is the one being victimized, when that does not have to be the case. She could have just busted him in the head with a bottle and hurt him, but the way society is set up, there is looked upon that it's the woman that's being victimized, but that is not always the case. And some women love to victimize men. I mean, I actually used to own an apartment building, and one time I was renting out to a young man, and he was getting domestic violence. They have a thing where they pay for you to move if you've been a victim of domestic violence. So he was a victim, and they were paying for him to move to my apartment building. And so when I went and picked up the check, it really blew my mind that here's this gentleman who needs to be, somewhere else away from the woman. And I mean, I guess he's scared unless he was dating another man. I didn't ask who he was dating, but he was definitely a victim of domestic violence. And so a lot of times you don't think of a man to be relocated because of violence, but he was relocated, and the state of California, this society actually paid for him to be moved because they were worried about his well-being.
Wow. From his woman.
From his woman.
Well, what is the normal response to a man being beat up by his woman?
Most people would think maybe he's a little soft, or
get your puss ass out.
right. He's a little soft, got a little cotton going on, but
a little cotton.
Yeah, a little cotton ball.
But these are part of the double standards. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. Ladies, please call in if you've slapped the Kool-Aid out of your husband's mouth. Tiff.
Yeah.
I need to know. Female privilege?
Definitely female privilege. Also because the privilege really comes not only in that, the double standard where if the police show up, they're automatically assuming the call was because the man was hitting the woman. So unless the neighbors said it was the girl screaming threats at the guy or whatever, they're just coming to the house assuming it's a man hitting a woman. So that's the double standard right there. But also the privilege comes in if a woman hits a man, society has taught us to expect the man not to hit you back. Whereas that's not what we were taught. In my household, my brother's ex hit him in the face with a frying pan. And just his reaction was to like, he jerked and he was talking on the phone and he smacked her with the phone because like that's just what his hand did. And my family was not mad. We're like, I don't think that counts. Like if someone smashes you in the face with a pan, like whatever happens after that is like just natural reflex,
Absolutely.
But society has taught us if you're a man and your woman starts coming swinging at you or trying to stab you or whatever, your response is to what? Just hold her down or call the police.
But do you see the
like
pressure?
That's the problem.
Do you see the inherent pressure of what it means to be a man?
Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So just take never hit a woman.
Right.
And take always be a provider.
Ooh.
Those two things.
That's heavy.
So no matter how fucked up, whatever life throws you at you on those two fronts, absolutes.
Right.
Never do this and always do that.
Right. That's sad.
Where in society is it a never and always for a woman?
Almost never.
Ooh, shit.
Almost never, except for maybe to the point where they need to raise their child.
Right.
That
Even
part.
with that, I have postpartum depression, and there's always, well, shit, she went crazy.
Right. Right.
A man in society can't pull the crazy cards. Like, well, you should have known better, crazy.
Right. 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 He doesn't have a period. There's nothing to blame it on.
Women can say period. They can say hormones. How many times you got out of a ticket on the period side of the game?
I mean, never, but that's just me. Is that something girls do for real?
Maybe.
You can say that?
I've
Maybe?
gotten out of a
Yeah.
ticket. I didn't necessarily say I was on my period, but honey, I got something to say, and we getting out of this ticket, okay? I've gotten out of a
Mimi's
few
a
tickets.
pimp.
Yeah, I got
See,
something
I'm
to
just
say.
a wuss. I don't even speed. I'm like the 4 over the speed limit cruise controller. I'm a lame. So
Wow.
maybe I just don't have that.
Right. Well, honey, I'm a
Regarding
lame.
domestic violence, what is the difference between former NFL running back Ray Rice
Ooh.
and the MMA's former bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey? In her book, she talks about beating the Kool-Aid out of her boyfriend. How come, Ronda could go back to the MMA?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Rice has not been reinstated in the NFL. Even though that happened before they got married, and they got married and they lived happily ever after that happened. Ladies.
Well, it's a catch-22.
I love Mimi. Well.
It's a catch-22 because when a male does something, it's looked at it in a different light versus the female, number one. And then number two, he's a black male. So that also puts a shade on it. And then on top of that, I just feel like it's sad because the media gets involved and they paint this picture and they make it as dark as they can on certain people.
You see what they did to OJ?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see what they did to OJ when they put him on Time magazine?
Yeah,
they made him 3 shades darker.
Right.
This nigga here got blacker
Right.
because of the bullshit he's in.
Right.
Right.
Right. And that's how they want you to be perceived. The blacker you are, the more violent you are. The blacker you are, the more that you can do towards society, towards women, that is in a negative form. And it's sad because it's a picture that they paint and it's not actually the facts.
What about that? Remember that cat calling thing that was going on? Where this lady, I guess she was suing somebody because they were cat calling the way men, she was walking down the street and she was like, these men are approaching me. And, it was this big to-do about it.
Right.
Men can't even be men. Is society emasculating men? I'm not saying society should open the door and say men should hit women. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there's so many parameters around masculinity. And when I say parameters, I mean stereotypical ones, legal ones, and they're all basically absolutes. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's pretty flexible to be a woman.
Right. Right.
You disagree? You agree? Somebody speak on it.
I agree.
In what way?
Well,
I could be wrong.
Well, I believe women get privileges all the way around the board. It could be that you're waiting for a table and you're standing up and all the men start getting up to give a lady a seat. So all the way around the board when it comes to society, women have a different angle on things. So, like I said before, if the police come and there's a domestic violence dispute, they're definitely looking at the male, and then don't let it be a black male or a minority or someone that they feel that's violent. Then, then they're reaching out for the guns and they're calling 10, backup, and it's really unnecessary because at the end of the day, the woman actually may have caused this crime or may have hit this male, and if it was the other way around, they wouldn't call so much backup for her.
Should the rules be different if the woman is trained?
Yes.
Like Ronda Rousey.
Like Ronda. Like if you're like a Marine or an MMA fighter, like yes. And that has happened a few times. Like if you're a trained Marine or
a killer,
Green Beret, if you have the physical ability to kill somebody, or even like a black belt in karate or something, the rule should be, the punishment should be stricter because you know what your physical ability is. And I think, like for me, that's I think why people laughed a little bit, because the situation wasn't like I didn't punch, scratch, bite, or slap him. The situation, like I was under the influence of alcohol.
You drank too?
I do. Wine
this
is the
motherfucking
business.
Christian right here.
Wine is the business.
Jesus is like, shit, I made wine at the marriage of Cana.
Yeah. So since then I had to make rules to like make sure stuff like this wouldn't happen, because I was like utterly ashamed of like that I even got to that point. But I actually had just like snapped and grabbed him by the neck and lifted him off the ground. Now, mind you, I'm 185 pounds. He's 220 pounds. But that's how strong I am. That like I was just like, I'm not weak. I'm not a bitch. Like I really was like, I snapped. And I put him down and I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
wow.
Okay, this is a problem. And I sat my butt on the couch and waited for the cops to come. Like, this is a problem. We should never be at this place in our relationship. So that's where people in my family kind of laugh, because they're like, they know like I work out. I am really strong. I've always grown up with brothers. So they're, they laugh like, he shouldn't have, put that in the situation. He should have expected you to snap. And I'm like, no, like you should never find yourself in a relationship where that's even a situation where they can push you so much that that's where you snap. And that's where I was like, I don't want to be in a relationship where a person's antagonizing me to get to that place. And that's how I feel men feel. They find themselves in relationships with women who are consistently antagonizing them, verbally and physically.
About the perpetual button pusher.
The perpetual button pusher. When they know you are physically capable to hurt them, they do everything but physical antagonizing to get at you. So that's where I found myself, like I said, in a financial and abusive situation, because he knew I didn't ever want to get physical again, but he kept antagonizing the situations where it felt like that's all you had to do. So I would just leave. Like, I need to go take a break. I'm going to go Bible study. I'm going to go meditate. I don't know what I need to do, but Hallelujah. This is not how this is going to go down.
Hold it up,
Yeah. And I feel like that's where men are at. They find themselves in consistent conflict with verbal aggressors and even like physical, like, sorry to put you out there, mama, but like my mama will be the first one to break some stuff. Like she will break some things in the house. She will break a lamp or a whatever. Like, so women need to stop breaking stuff. Like, y'all need to like be adults and find other ways.
No, I think what do you guys think about the age-old absolute men should never hit women? Call us right now, 323-230-4610. I want to hear about it. I want to hear your opinion, and I don't want to lead you. I want you to share your honest thoughts on it. That's what the show is about. There is no right or wrong. There are multiple right answers and multiple wrong answers, I guess, to this conversation. So fuck it. Call in and let us know. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Speak on it.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's happening, man?
Okay, listen. Great topic. Mimi, what's up, baby? Beautiful.
What's
Tiffany,
up?
I think that...
Hey, homeboy. Hold on, pimp. Mimi spoken for, dog. She's spoken for. Don't be hollering at Mimi like that.
I think when Tiffany said that we're raised to give women a pass, no, we're not. I think the privilege starts at childhood, especially in the black family where you got sisters and the dad always tells you the little sister is right. She gets to hit the son and, the boy brother gets to do anything. So women develop their privilege as young kids, teasing with their siblings.
Right.
Now, I want to kind of take it back a little bit. I think that the domestic violence part where women feel this need to, hit a man, a lot of women have sexual aggression. They feel, that men ain't paying them attention. So a lot of women get their cookies off, fighting the man, hoping they going to have that makeup sex. I know it sounds morbid and sick, But from what I've
So you wait,
never
hold
thought of
on.
that.
That's a good point.
I never
Hold
thought of
on.
that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me? Wait, hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Hold on. I'm gonna come to you. I just have a question for you. Let me ask. You mean to tell me there's something more to her asking you to choke her during sex? I just had to bring that out.
I like that, but I don't need to beat you up.
I'm just saying, is there something darker there?
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. See, it ain't just cut and dry. Domestic violence is real. Some women have sexual suppression. They get to release it by being violent and physical. They like to get slapped around. But I think images were shown from the caveman days. You know, the man pulling the woman by the hair. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Then in the 50s, in the 60s, you could beat your wife. Cops come, ain't no case. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? No big deal. Police, you beat your wife up, no problem. You know, coming to the 80s, 90s, it kind of started evolving to more of terrorist type of threat with the OJ case. But I think it's a very important topic to discuss because as a father, I'll put hands on somebody that hurt my daughter.
Indeed.
Now my sisters, I can't get involved in their relationship because they'll go right. So sometimes, you know, when you're looking at domestic violence, do women forgive men for touching them? Absolutely. Women do little things, and they'll push that button. It's like women on their period, they'll come and egg a man on, and they'll get in your and they'll hit you. So sometimes a man reflex might slap her. Now, there's a difference between slapping a woman and punching a woman. I mean, you got some brothers that knocked women smooth out.
Now, that's a difference. That's something else.
Right.
To me, so there are different dynamics to the topic of physical abuse with your wife, your girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? Even with your family members, female family members. I think all in all, a man being physically stronger should exercise constraint and exit the situation. In today's time,
or
that decision was put to a prison.
I think that's.
You hit a woman today.
No, you bringing up a point now. I just wanted to point out really quickly. To the best of his ability, to the best, see, when we say a man should never hit a woman, we have to remember at what stage of development is he at personally.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we have this blanket license for everybody, but you have to first evaluate the type of person. Mm-hmm. So if you're dealing with a hothead, a sister shouldn't come into that situation thinking, well, he should never hit me because he's a hothead. You already know that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hey, but P game. If you a brother and you make a decision to clock a woman, there are consequences.
Oh, yeah.
Now, a lot of niggas are sitting in L.A. County jail for clocking a sister.
Yep.
So, to me, ain't nobody worth your freedom, number one.
Agreed.
Number two, if you love your woman, if you truly love her, if she clock you, forgive her. But, you know, you may want to start backpedaling that relationship because it may be a perpetual tendency escalate. Again, you look at the show Good Times, which a lot of African Americans grew up on. Would you ever see that wife hit James? Could you ever envision her hitting him?
Florida?
No, not
Hell
Flo.
nah.
Not Flo.
Florida would never hit James.
No.
Now, James was an angry black man, but he was a family. He was stern and disciplined with his kids. So with that being said, you touch Thelma, James gonna put chips on you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
James was not bullshitting about Thelma.
Heck no. Heck no.
So you have to kind of pull all of this stuff together. You incorporate alcohol, substance abuse, physical tendencies,
mental
violence.
illness.
Women like to get their rocks off. I know more women that like to get screwed after getting beat up. It's crazy.
Is that
wow.
That's their thing.
Wow.
You know, it ain't no. You know, it's a touchy subject because you got a lot of women that got slapped. You know, popped upside their head and then they done broke them off some good ass. That's just real. Now, you ain't going to have women say, yeah, he screwed me after he beat me up or slapped me around, because what happens is he loves you now. In the 80s, this practice was very prevalent. A lot of them young brothers was slapping the girlfriends around there at the nail shop, bragging about their man love me because he beat her up. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But all in all, coming around with a black eye, that's embarrassing. You know, I just think the black folks, male and female, in today's society needs to be cognizant of the consequences of their behavior. Because, again, a woman hit a man, that's a domestic violence. You got cats. My brother-in-law called the police on my sister because he was in the upper hand on her. You feel me? Before the police came. So she got to go to the domestic violence course. So I just say, if a woman shows me she's willing to go that violent route, I'm exiting, bro. I ain't even going to play with it.
Good advice, bro. Good advice. We appreciate the call. Thanks, man. Wow. Woo wee.
Real.
Hey. Ladies, he said a lot of things.
A lot of things.
A lot.
He said a lot of things. Is it that way?
Well, I feel like
what about what he said was true?
What he said was true, was that it was okay to beat your woman back in the day. When the cops would come, they would just walk off and leave. Oh, you beat your wife up. It wasn't a big deal until O.J. Simpson supposedly killed Nicole. So, but prior to that,
you don't believe it?
I just said supposedly.
I got you,
know what I mean?
on some legal shit.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, you know what I mean? But that's sad. I mean, I even experienced that. I experienced high levels of domestic terrorism. So mine wasn't domestic violence. Mine was domestic terrorism.
All right. So wait, before you go into that, we got to break down the differences.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Because after OJ, that's when they had to create a whole new category. And I think those categories were already in existence, but I think they put emphasis on them after OJ. So you had something called CCV, common couple violence. Then you had something called IPV. I think that's intimate partner violence. Then you had something called IT, intimate terrorism. All right. So now that we have the distinctions, now we have to deal with what those distinctions mean. See, a lot of people don't understand the way domestic violence was viewed before is it's two human beings. There's going to be violence amongst two human beings who live with each other.
Right.
That's what people don't understand. Violence is inherent in the human condition. If you got anybody out there talking about, have these absolutist ideas about violence, oh, it should never happen. You're a child because children fight.
Right.
I mean, you put children together, these niggas will fight, literally fight. From children all the way to the elderly, there's fighting. There's violence. So now it's about management, understanding triggers, right? So the two, CCV, common couple violence, and IPV, intimate partner violence. Now, make no mistake, those two forms of violence can get you killed.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. An accident, lost my head, lost my cool, pow, bang, zoom, she fell, hit her head, dead. So those two can get you killed. But the way they're viewed is they don't end relationships. You guys can go to counseling. You guys can work that out. There's a record of a clinician working you guys through your process. And if you stick to the process and you stick to whatever you've learned through that, you guys can overcome CCV or IPV. What you can't overcome is IT, intimate terrorism. Now, intimate terrorism is a circle of control. I'm going to control the bread. I'm going to control communication through violence. Everything, all means of control is controlled through violence, right? You not getting no money. You can't see your people. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, and now we understand. Mimi has a story that illustrates IT. Go into that.
Wow. I don't even know where to begin, so I'm going to try to make it as tight as possible. So I had a childhood sweetheart, been knowing him since I was probably 15 years old. We ended up having a child together. I thought that we were going to spend the rest of our life together. But he turned out to be my worst nightmare. He turned into the Freddy Krueger in my life. After I got pregnant, I guess he wanted to keep the other women around. So he began cheating on me in high magnitudes, going to parties with my friends while they lock me in the house while I'm pregnant so he can go out with the other women. So this went on the entire pregnancy. I would bust him with women. A lot of stuff went on. So I decided I didn't want to be in this relationship no more because he started hitting me a little bit, grabbing me. Even while I was pregnant, I remember one time he hit me in my face, and I thought, uh-oh, this is getting pretty bad. So anyways, I have the baby. Moving forward, I tell him I don't want to be together. He decides he wants to begin stalking me. And so when he couldn't find me, he would lay up in places where he knew I would arrive eventually because he knew me very well. So one time he set me up. A friend of mine actually helped set me up because he would tell them he loved me so much. So a friend of mine set me up. He told them, I love her so much. I want to work things out with Mimi, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, well, she's going to be X, Y, Z. So when I went there, he pulled up, he came inside the house and he beat me. He broke my nose. He took his belt off. He beat me with a belt. My blood was all over the walls of this person's home. He beat me to the point where, it was unbelievable. He said, if I hit you again, bitch, you're going to die, because he had already broken my nose. He said, the bones from your nose are going to your brain and you're going to die, bitch. So I called 911, right? 911 calls back. Did somebody just call here? And of course he answers the phone and says, no. Right? Hangs the phone
my
up.
Worst fear.
Then he's like, oh, bitch, you called 911. So that commits to more belt beating. At that point, he grabbed my daughter. She was probably like 5 months old. And he told me, basically, he didn't let me see her again until I decided to be back with him. Okay. But I didn't want to go back to him. So I was just trying to find things to do within the court to get my baby back. Not really, suing him, but just about custody. So I found out then 99% of the law is possession. So because he was the child's father, he had 99% of the law on his side.
Because you guys didn't have a custody agreement in place already.
Right. So he had the trump card. So he would call me. He would start stalking my friends. My friends would catch him on their patios. He blew up my grandmother's car when he couldn't find me.
Wait, hold on.
Like blew up?
Yeah, he had
You mean like the A-team type?
Yeah, he he had my grandmother's car blown up. He pulled a gun out on my dad and put it to his head and said, take me to where that bitch is. But luckily, where he did it at, my grandmother was upstairs, so my dad started yelling, Mom, call the police. Such and such got a gun out on me. I don't want to say his name, but he knows who he is. So my grandmother called the police. My dad started running down the street because I guess he really didn't want to kill my dad. He just wanted to put fear in my dad to locate where I was. But my dad ran across the street. So my dad at the time, he was going to press charges, but then he said, this is the grandchild's father who we've been knowing since, you're 15 years old. Now he's put in a predicament. Plus my child's father was somewhat gang related. So therefore my dad was afraid also of some of that. You know what I'm saying? The retaliation of doing this. And because me and my child's father grew up together, we knew the same people. So those same gang members or people that he knew, we both knew him equally. But because he made me feel like they all knew about it, I was afraid to go to them for help, like get him off of me. I actually thought they were down with it because of how he posed it to me. But that wasn't actually the facts. But moving forward, because I know I'm taking a lot of time. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm fine?
Please.
Okay. So
I'll stop you, goddammit.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let me know when I'm going too far because I have a lot to say. My story is huge and long. Long story short, of course, I was on the run. People didn't want me around because when I was around, I could get you hurt. You feel me? Imagine you're getting calls. Okay, Mimi just had my car blown up. Mimi just had a gun pulled on me. They're all looking for Mimi, right? So when I go to people's houses,
it's like Mimi, stay over there.
Right. Nobody really wants me around because I'm really causing problems. So one day I was headed to my aunt's house, me and my friend Shannon, and my aunt lives off of 60th and Overhill. And we were headed over there. My kid's father, he knew I would be in that area. I guess he just figured certain places I'm going to definitely go. He called us there. He was in his ragtop Corvette, and we were in a Sentra. He chased us up and down the street. When I seen him, I'm like, girl, take off. Mind you, I had already had a broken nose, so I was like petrified, like drive off, drive off, drive off. So I guess I'm missing a part to the story because I had my child back then. And to get my child back, let me reverse. What I would have to do is act like I was cool, go in the area, and then the minute he turns his back, goes to sleep, I drive off. Or his brother would help me get away. One of his brothers felt sorry for me when I would get locked in the house because they would have locks where you would need a key to get inside or outside. So I would be locked in the house being supervised by people who were like the warden, making sure I couldn't leave. And so different people would help me get away, although there were other people that helped set me up. So it was a catch-22. And some of these people were getting paid items. He used to have a lot of money. So he would pay them to tell him where I was, or he would buy him rims for the car and say, oh, don't you want rims on your car? If you tell me where Mimi is, then I'll hook you up. And some of these people take money over everything. So these people would set me up. So then I would get set up again. But back to us driving through Overhill. So we're driving down the Overhills. He's shooting in the air at us. His top is down. He claims he's not shooting.
He's shooting?
Yeah, he's shooting. He used to ride around with a gun in his briefcase. So he was shooting in the air at us. Wow. My friend hit a car. We did a hit and run because he kept on chasing us. We get to Slauson and Crenshaw. He hops out the car. My friend had no AC, so the windows were down, and I'm sweating profusively because I'm scared to death at this point, to be honest with you. Like, what is about to happen to me now, right? And mind you, I'm 21 years old, so I'm not educated. Not to say I'm young, dumb, full of cum. I'm just being real.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
I got
my brain wasn't.
Then there's that.
Right. So long story short, he reaches in the car. He's pulling my hair. And I'm like, oh, my God. And like, I'm still trying to maintain, but it's like he's really yanking it out. So I open the door. He actually leaves his Corvette on Slauson and Crenshaw. He hops in the car with us, and he takes us like through a ride through the neighborhood. Maybe he's planning his next move. I don't know what he's thinking, but all the cars that are pulling up on the side of me, I'm like, call 911. But of course, nobody's helping. People mind their own business when it comes to domestic violence. You could be being beat up, and they're not going to help you. So he drives back to the car. He snatches me out, me and my child. We drive from L.A. to Moreno Valley. That's where he resides at the time. And I drove there against my will. My friend called the police. Well, she called my mother, who then called the police. Luckily, they did. Because when I arrived there, he had handcuffs around the shower nozzle. He did a tour of the house. He said, you won't be getting away this time. Because I'd gotten away many times before.
Oh, shit. This part right here is crazy.
Yeah. He said, you won't be getting away tonight. I got a handcuff. It was one handcuff around the shower nozzle, the other one hung. So that's where I was going to stay that night. And he took me to the bedroom of my daughter, and he put locks on the door and said, you won't be able to get to her. And so, I'm not leaving without her. Like, that's me. So I'm like, oh my God. So I saw my life literally flash before me, and I thought, okay, I better act like I like him. And I like what's happening right now because I need to get out of this situation. So I started to act like I missed him and kind of making out with him, but not the make out that the caller talked about. This wasn't make out I wanted. This was makeup, save my life.
This was save your life.
Girl,
this was save.
Yeah.
This was save my life make out. And so I did that, and luckily, my friend had called my parents, who then called the police. So the police came to the house. He wouldn't open the door. And so when they said it was the police, they were yelling, it's the police. And they got their flashlights, and they're all in the backyard. He saw him. So he put me on the ground with him, and held me down. And he was like, please don't let me go to jail. Please. And he's crying. My child is down there with us, and I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do now? Here it is. My abuser is begging me to help him. Mind you, I've been knowing him since I'm 15 years old. And so the police, they coming through the garage, they make it inside the house. And they were going to, obviously they asked me what happened. They were going to take him. I could have had his whole life ended. He had kidnapped me from L.A. County and took me to Moreno Valley County, where there's handcuffs, there's locks on the doors. I had already been had a broken nose, been beaten. I mean, I could have put him under the jail.
That's hella felonies.
But guess what? Because it was my kid's father, and I wasn't sure of how crazy. I didn't really know that he was going to keep going. I thought maybe if, he just let me go, we can just end this, and you can leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, and I won't put you in jail. So when the police asked me what was going on, I just simply said, I just want to leave. And remember, this is before O.J. Simpson, so they're not really into the details of it.
They're not pressing like they are now.
Right.
Now you going to jail.
Right.
Period.
So they weren't pressing it. So they said they're going to run his name and this and that. So he had my car there, and I kind of didn't mention this. My story is so big it would take the whole show to tell. But my car was luckily there. He had taken my car from me previously. Another time he had kidnapped me, and someone came and rescued me, and I left the car behind. The car was still there. So when this happened, I got the keys from the police. I'm like, I need the keys to my car. So I drive off in the car, luckily. So my point that I'm making is that domestic violence is real. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still, dealing with so many things with it. I don't want to take up all of you guys' time because my story is really, really deep, and it's so much.
I've been telling Mimi to do this book.
Yes.
She's
This
not
shit could be a
listening.
Lifetime movie or something. Girl,
I told Mimi this
this
like 2 years ago. Mimi, we got to do this book.
You just said he kidnapped you like 5 different times, Mimi.
Oh, yeah, I've been kidnapped numerous of times. Like I said, people didn't want me around. My mother would catch him on her patio. She was running from her ex-husband, and she had his car, the husband's car. He actually went and told the husband where the car was. Like, everyone was mad at me. Like, I was ruining everyone's life. Either you were getting, guns pulled on you. So people didn't want me around. I actually found strangers that I moved in with. I actually moved in with a lady I met at a temp job. I worked at Aaron Spelling's company, and he was sending people up to the company. And I told someone what was happening to me, and she says, "You know what? You can come move in with me and my husband."
Damn.
And I moved in with her and her husband, and it was crazy because they were having problems. So he let me and her sleep in the bed with the babies, and he slept on the couch. And I would never forget her a day in my life because she didn't even know me that well. Mm-hmm. She only did it because she seen what was happening to me.
What the deal was.
Yeah. And so I went into hiding. And the saddest part about it is he was calling a family member asking where I was. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a real close family member. And he actually bribed them to try to talk me into going back to a supposed safe haven that he would provide shelter for, because he thought I was in a home. But I wasn't in a home. I was in hiding. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want anyone to know where I was because I could trust no one.
Right.
People were selling me out for money and for goods.
Damn. Listen. Shit. We've got to take a break after that. We must. We need a deep breath after that. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Listen, when we come back, because of the change in the media and the climate around domestic violence, you got a lot of people who have gone through less than Mimi, who act like they've been through the same thing and then manipulate the system to take advantage of all of the new kind of, things they have in place now. You got some people claiming, oh, this happened to me, because domestic abuse fraud is big too.
Yes.
Where women are like, okay, I know they sensitive to the situation. If you ain't been through it like Mimi, Jesus, don't manipulate the system. What about those out there who are manipulating the system when there's a real woman right here who predates the safeguards that are in place, and she was really out there on her own? Oh, man, This is crazy. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, callers, we want to hear your story. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. You're listening to the voice of reason, Dash Radio, Dash Talk. I'll be back in 2.2. Let's get it. Man, the voice of reason. Yikes. Ooh-wee. Welcome back to a heater of a topic. Show is crazy right now. You're listening to Zoe Williams, the voice of reason on Dash Radio. Dash has a talk station called Dash Talk. This is how you find us. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My homeboy Broadway made all of these beats in the background that are slapping on the commercial breaks and during the show. If you have a story to share, the number to dial is 323-230-4610. The death of redemption. How difficult is it for a man or woman to redeem him or herself after committing acts of domestic violence? Is there a domestic abuse standard, double standard? Mimi just dropped heat. Ooh. She been through the real intimate terrorism. IT. Not all forms of domestic violence is IT, intimate terrorism. But a lot of people behave as if they're going through an intimate terrorist act when they have moments of violence in their relationship. When do you get out? When do you get help? Is there light at the end of that tunnel? Man. Researchers over at UCLA, I always mention this guy, I love him. Benjamin Carney, right? That guy did research on a lot of couples, newlyweds, and over a 2-year period, and he found that domestic violence occurred in all of their relationships, and 50% of those relationships went on to be good relationships, like the Ray Rice situation. So from that research, he determined that violence isn't an indicator for breaking up relationships. Now, he's not talking about intimate terrorism.
Right.
He's talking about CCV, common couple violence, IPV, intimate partner violence. I want to hear from people who have been in a common couple violence or intimate partner violence situation. It happened. It was ugly. And then you guys worked through it and your relationship got better because of it. That's possible. Might be rare, but possible. Very important that we put this out here right now. What are the top 3 signs that a spouse is going to snap? And are these signs passed on to the children as conflict resolution skills?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jesus, I just hate asking tough questions. Tiffany, what do you have to say about that?
Well, in regards to the children, yes. So that's a lot. Like, it's almost like they talk about it as similarly to intergenerational. Again, children, at least 50%, nature versus nurture, of what they learn is from mirror neurons, which is they mirror what they see, what they hear. That's how they learn. That's how they learn how to walk. That's how they learn to talk, eat. So, of course, if you have terrible or like negative or less than productive, domestic violence or communication skills, that's how your kids are going to learn to communicate as well. So don't be surprised if you have violence in your home that you're going to see that in school and in jobs and in their other interpersonal relationships. Like, that's a no-brainer. So, but in regards to in a relationship, I would say signs that you can expect it to escalate to domestic violence situations is like when they tell you they don't hear you or they're consistently belittling you. Because that's what I experienced. When your partner consistently tells you you're confrontational, like everything's a fight, and you're like, well, I just want to know your opinion, or like you're like, wait, why is everything a fight? I'm not trying to fight you. If someone is consistently telling you you're confrontational or they're becoming confrontational over things that seem like nothing, and if they shut down your emotional response. So what happened for me a lot was he consistently told me to stop crying. So, things would escalate, yelling or screaming or whatever, and I would cry. That's my emotional response. People don't think that, of course, because they're like, think I'm Spock or whatever. Like, no, I break down and cry. That's my response. Like, tears will commence. And he would literally scream at me. I would usually end up, like, for whatever reason, on the floor in the fetal position just crying, and he would scream at me, you don't need to cry. That's nothing to cry about, like, over everything. And so if that's what happens is that your significant other is telling you like your emotional response is not valid or you shouldn't feel that way, I always teach people, I'm like, your feelings are your feelings. No one can tell you how you feel but you. So if that's their response, that's likely that you yourself are going to have some triggers that are going to happen and you need to find a way to regulate that or just get away from it.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Yikes. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. The death of redemption. Is it easier for a man or a woman? Which is it easier for? I think it's easier for a woman
Definitely
to bounce
for
back.
A woman. Yeah.
Men, you're the villain forever.
Right.
Look at Chris Brown.
Which is unfortunate.
He's the villain forever.
Right.
I mean, he unfortunately has had some other behaviors that let us see like he hasn't gotten past that. But had that been the only incident, that would have been really a shame for him. But unfortunately, he has showed us some IT behaviors. So Lord have mercy on his soul.
IT? I wouldn't go as far as saying
I mean,
IT is some other shit.
I didn't say he has done them. I said he showed signs of them. Okay, I didn't say he's been terroristic, but some of the things that he said that Karrueche is gonna always be his, and if she can't be his, he's gonna kill her. Like,
well, yeah,
those are threats. It didn't say he actually did those behaviors. No.
That, yeah.
But yeah, like if you're threatening someone, that's the first sign that they will like take action. So, and he has the ability to. He has money and the ability to travel and find you. Like Mimi's situation, he has the ability to pay people to end her life if he wants to. That's a terrifying thought.
Wow.
So
I don't think so.
I hope she, of course she has bodyguards and all that.
I was about to say I don't think so because she's too high profile. If she was a little nobody.
Hey, Princess Diana, fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, in a tunnel. Nobody saw that as domestic violence.
No, I'm just saying like everything's possible. So I just feel like take it serious. So it starts as threats. No, I'm just saying like it starts as threats, and I hope people take the threats serious because they can be serious.
Yikes! You kind of. You kind of jumped over the shark with that one. But
no, I'm just saying if someone's threatening you and they have the means to execute the threat, you should take it serious. Just like if someone's threatening to complete suicide, the first question we ask is, do you have guns in your possession? And if you say yes, you're like, okay, we got to take this serious.
You got to listen to that.
So that's my only point in that regard. Not that he's actually going to become an IT person and that's the comparison. No,
right.
But he's making threats and has the ability to execute them. So it makes it a little bit more serious.
But again, then now we're back in, what was that Tom Cruise movie? Where, you get in trouble for future crimes?
Oh, yeah.
Minority Report.
Yeah, Minority Report. I like that.
So at the end of the day, if somebody never acts on something, you can't then turn around and say, well, this person exhibits that behavior.
Right.
Or this person exhibits tendencies. Well, what are they doing? If they're not doing anything, you can't then turn around and say, well, just the posture looks like they may do it.
No, it's true. I agree.
That's some Minority Report shit.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
And I kind of don't want to put him in that. I kind of hope better for him.
Me too. I mean,
because
I love
let me just say, at the end of the day, violence is part of the human condition.
Yes.
And the stories that we tell around violence is why there is a double standard in the violence. Like,
right.
For instance, Mimi has a clear story that represents a clear domestic violence lane.
Right.
Not everybody fits in that lane.
Correct.
Right.
But everybody behaves as if they belong in that lane.
Correct.
And to me, that does a disservice to Mimi.
Yes.
And her experience.
Right.
Because there are certain levels of violence that can be worked on. Like, nobody wants to have the real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there is a YouTube campaign. I want everybody to go there within the sound of my voice. There is a YouTube campaign that shows an experiment, right? It's called Violence is Violence, right? Now, what's so dope about this, I'm gonna pull it up, but I'm not gonna play it.
Oh yeah, I've seen this before.
What's so ill about this little advertisement? Anybody follow me on Twitter right now? I'm gonna send this out. Everybody who gets this, retweet it. I want everybody to watch this video once the show is over. It's only 1 minute and 50 seconds long. This is something that has to be dealt with in our community. The double standard of violence.
Mm-hmm.
So the experiment is they're walking in a park, and the first thing you see is the man going off on the girl.
Yep.
The whole park is alert and aware. He's yelling all in her face, pushing her. The whole park is crackling with electricity of awareness. Like, the fuck is he doing? And everybody seems agitated, like, nah. And then they intervene. You're not finna just beat up this girl. What are you doing? Yep. Ladies are screaming. Men are intervening. Nah. They come back the next day. This time, she's yelling at him.
Yep.
And then it turns into laughter. There are people laughing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to work through some of the double standards around domestic violence again. There's some women are applauding that she's on his head like that, and she's physical and she's violent. They're applauding it. And then when asked, it turns into, well, he must have done something. So the way we raise children, especially young girls, is you can whoop a man's ass or you can hit a man and he's not a man if he retaliates.
Right.
But to say he's not a man is also to say he's not human.
Right.
Because if I sit and ask 10 women a totally unrelated, so they think, question, they will all answer this way. I'm going to ask you guys. Do humans have their limits?
Yes.
Do all humans have breaking points?
Yes.
So why don't your husband or your boyfriend?
They do.
They do.
So a lot of times women will insert the double standard where common sense comes into play. Like, wait, that's a human being. Mm-hmm. I can't keep pushing the human being past their threshold. And then the reflex answer is, well, you should never hit a woman. There's no circumstance in which a man should hit a woman. Am I advocating violence from men to women? No. What I'm saying is you must understand, like, for instance, relationships are designed for you to understand the human nature, the human condition. That's what relationships are for. They're not just Netflix and chill. You have to be able to go into a relationship and go, wow, everything I blame my partner for really is a trigger in me that needs to be turned off. But instead of me protecting my partner, right, I'll blame my partner and say it's their fault. Just like you said with the mirror neurons. Yep. Oh, philosopher Krishnamurti said relationship is a mirror.
Yes.
So if you're seeing something in your partner, you have to, well, did I deserve to be beat? Oh, no. There's something in you that magnetized that experience on a spiritual level. You have to see what that is and go, wow, let me undo this. Sometimes you'll think it's a totally unrelated belief. Or sometimes it is a totally unrelated belief. Like, for instance, pimps are attracted to broken women.
Yes.
Right.
So in a way, they're looking for whatever the chink in her armor is.
Yep.
Emotionally, psychologically, philosophically. They're looking for something in her that's broken. And then once they find it, they're like, ha, got her. Now I'm going to exploit that. That works the same way with the violent person or with the relationship experience as a whole. You're getting something that is designed to alert you to something within yourself that you can rewrite, deal with, embrace, overcome, and then elevate your vibration and attract different kinds of people.
Right.
This is why when you see certain domestic violence cases, why are you going back? Well, why did you go back to that situation? Or why are you going back to the same type of situation?
Right.
See, a lot of people don't. Just look up the video. Violence is violence. Let's deal with the domestic violence double standard. And then let's get to some callers. Caller! Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Zoe Williams in the building with Mimi, fucking Survivor. Where's Beyonce and them now?
Right.
Where her soundtrack? Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it. Turn your radio down. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's happening? What's your name and where you calling from?
Christina.
Christina.
How are you?
I'm alive and well.
I'm coming from Delaware. How are you today?
Delaware.
How's everyone?
We good on the east side of the game. Speak on it, Pam.
Well, I actually didn't have any issues in regards to a whole lot of domestic violence as I was growing up. I had some close calls, but it was a public type of thing when people were putting their hands on me. But most of the time, I beat up guys in middle school. So, you know, I'm the type of person that really had a lot of anger in me at a young age. So, but I dealt with it, and, you know, as I got older, you know, things started to change. So it's not the same as, before, because I have spiritually changed inwardly. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I love that. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Any other ladies out there who love to kick men's ass? Call us. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it. Caller. Hello. Okay. Boost Mobile. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it. Okay. Boost Mobile. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it. We got Boost Mobile today? Is that what's going on? Listen, callers, you got to be ready. When I come to you, be ready. All right? The number to dial is 323-230-4610. Let's get back to the conversation. Callers will call back in. If you're just tuning in, the death of redemption. Is redemption a dead end for men and a possibility for women concerning domestic violence?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very interesting angle to come at. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it.
What's going on, Zoe? This is Brandon from Cincinnati.
I'm good, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
How y'all doing? Listening to Mimi got me losing my damn train of thought. That's a crazy story right there, man. But I think, there definitely is like a double standard when it comes to domestic violence. And a big part of that is how society expects men and women to deal with their emotions. Mm-hmm. Women are allowed to, express their emotions and, react when they're hurt, whereas men are expected, be more cerebral and keep shit bottled up. Because if we express our emotions and react off our emotions, we're seen as like weak and, not as manly. So that has a big part to do with it, the double standard.
Well, right. I agree that, I don't know if I agree necessarily that women are allowed to express their emotions more, and then we expect men to bottle them up. But I think that's exactly why this system, the double standard, isn't working for us, because all I've ever said is I want a man who can express his damn feelings. So thanks, society.
Because think about it. If a woman catches her man cheating, she could slap him and nobody would really have too much to say about it. But let a guy catch his woman cheating and we react and punch her, it's like the reactions from those situations would be totally different. Like Zoe touched on the Ray Rice situation earlier, where he hit his girlfriend in the elevator, but leading up to that, she was in his face yelling, and I think she actually hit him first. Now, switch the whole situation. Remember the situation with Solange and Jay-Z in the elevator.
Right.
She, whooped his ass, and he really couldn't do nothing about it. He just had to pretty much walk away. Now, Ray Rice, like Zoe said, Ray Rice hasn't been in the NFL since that shit happened. And hell, Solange is still, thriving in her career, winning awards and stuff.
Right, cranes in the sky. Shit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The double standard.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And another part of that I feel is like, look at Mimi's situation. Like, yeah, I think like when it comes to like, the basic, punching and slapping and, minor stuff like that, women do, commit domestic violence in that form a lot more prevalent because, for one, they report it more. Ain't too many men calling the cops saying, my woman slapped me, it's just not going to happen. Women are quicker to report it more often than men. Like I said, it's just seen as not manly if a guy, calls the cops, hey, I'm 6'2" and my woman's 5'3" and she whooping my ass. It's not going to happen. But
wow,
when you think about cases like Mimi's, where what you call it, like terrorism,
intimate terrorism, intimate terrorism.
Intimate terrorism, I feel like, that's more prevalent for men committing that against women. And when people think of domestic violence, a lot of the times they think of that, the extreme cases. And I think most of those cases are, provoked by men or and it's or men harming women. You don't really. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you don't really hear about women doing what happened to me to men. You don't hear about women kidnapping men and handcuffing them and stuff like that. So I think that has a lot to do with double standard as well. The fact that those extreme cases where people are like really, really hurt, or more so men doing it to women. That's all I gotta say, man. I just think everybody need to keep their hands to themselves.
That part.
For sure.
First sign of domestic violence, just if you love a person enough to give them a chance, give them one more chance. But if it happens more than once, it becomes the terrorism thing. So I think it's time to move on. But that's all I got.
Hey, man, we appreciate the information, brother. Thank you so much for calling in. Callers, you've got something to say about today's topic? It's a very heavy one. I love it. Mimi's story, Tiff's story. Shit.
And I didn't even tell it all. That's the thing.
We already know. We need that book.
Right. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And just to chime in, he continued to do that with other women, but just not on the level he did it to me because of O.J. Simpson trial and things had changed in the law. But his last wife, or girlfriend, I should say, they had 4 kids. When she was pregnant with the second one, he broke her jaw and he was in jail, and they were going to charge him with career women beating. And so they made sure they didn't find me. Actually, one of his family members told me that they made sure that they didn't find me.
Career
woman beater, because even though he never got arrested for some of the things he did to me, so I would get restraining orders and he would never be anywhere to be found. He would make sure he would never
serve him.
He has to be served, right?
Yeah,
so it was still a paper trail of me trying to do it, and then there was one that did stick. So when they went and looked up his name, they saw this case.
Wow,
yes.
That's crazy. Mimi, I was just pointing at her, but you were saying?
Okay, I thought you were pointing at me. But,
no.
But yeah, so it just goes to show he never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not the women, someone would say, oh, well, what did you do? No, he continued to do this to other women. And then his brother, unfortunately, was killed by a woman while beating her. And he was a career woman beater as well. He was beating her up, and she shot him in the head, and they all watched him die. And this is before my kid's father did all that to me. And so when she killed him, we were all like, oh, well, she shouldn't have done that, because, of course, this is your family. You're always taking up for the other person. Mm-hmm. But actually, he was beating her. She only got 6 months.
Wow. Yikes. Caller. Eesh. I know your story ain't ill. No. Caller, let us know what you're going through right now. Welcome to the Voice of Reason. What's your name and where are you calling from? Speak on it. Caller, you're on the line.
Yeah, Taylor.
What's up, man? Speak on it.
Man, I love your show, and I've, seen a lot of things, throughout my lifetime, dealing with domestic violence coming from a home that's been in that area with domestic violence. My mother got beat up, different things of that nature. This is Taylor calling from L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had family members that beat up on their men, vice versa. And I was just thinking about an incident that basically happened at my school where I believe Mimi just mentioned something about it. It was a young lady that shot her boyfriend. I believe it was a football captain or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen enough to kind of deter me from a lot of women kind of commit violence and different things of that nature. A lot of times when I see it, coming, I try to step to the side and not, get involved with that person, because I know there's some type of anger issues or something of that nature going on, because I know, being a black man, I know I will, if the police come out or whatever, I know I'm going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always tried to stay away from, any kind of domestic violence. I've been slapped and kicked and all this other stuff. So, I try my best on, not hitting a woman or anything of that nature. And it's lasted a long time. But I've seen a lot of domestic violence, from growing up, women carrying razor blades and they bras and, different things of that nature, and, seeing people get drunk and want to fight and argue and all this other stuff. So I tend to try to stay away from a lot of that. But to this day, I haven't tried to put my hands on a woman. I usually try to stay, try to pick a person that's, level-headed instead of, want to have a certain mentality over, thinking that hitting a man is okay. And I've come a long way, but, I understand that, people will try to push your buttons and different things of that nature. And it's always been, it's always helped me out to walk away because, I've been in situations where, the police has called on me, behind some domestic violence and nothing had happened. Mm-hmm. So I kind of understand that, it can go down, just by people pushing your buttons,
Wow.
And sometimes when I do feel that way, I have to either go take myself and relax at the beach or, step outside and walk away. But, I noticed that when you do try to do those things, you're called sorry, you're called a punk, or,
why are you running away from the conversation? Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And,
get your bitch ass back in here.
Yeah. And I've been called that a lot of times, even from my friends and stuff like that. So, I'll tell them about the story and, well, she hit me or something like that. And they call me, oh, you nothing but a punk, and stuff like that. But they tend to handle it totally different. And I had a couple of friends that went to jail for domestic violence. And, they always have that on their record.
Right.
And so, you caught between a rock and a hard place, especially being a black man, with a domestic violence on your record and stuff. So, I was raised basically, you only get 3 strikes. You're a black male, you're male and you're black, and the 3rd strike is on you. So, it seems to be easier to get involved in getting a record nowadays, and that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people are in jail or in prison right now behind domestic violence or something like that. Because I had a lot of friends that just basically take off on women like it's a thing to do.
Wow.
And even after they get caught, they still do the same thing over again. So I understand about the domestic violence.
Okay.
Totally.
Well, we appreciate you calling in and sharing your insights. Thank you so much. You're welcome to call the Voice of Reason anytime on any topic. But tonight was wisdom, man. We thank you so much. We appreciate it. And caller, who do we have next? Who's on the line? Speak on it.
What up, man? Hustle from Miami.
Hustle from Miami. What's happening, pimp?
Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, ladies?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. What you got for us, bro?
So, look, I think something that's sometimes more important than what happens is how you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because violence doesn't have to be responded to with violence.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when you're dealing with somebody that only knows how to basically get their feelings out in that way, okay, you can forgive them. But forgiving don't mean you stay with them.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
You leaving could be part of that lesson that they need to learn.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So forgiveness ain't about sticking around. I think that's something important to put out there first.
Right. And but I will say this. Well, I agree with you 100%, but I also think it's situational too.
Yes.
Because as has been proven, depending on the level, like we have to make sure that we know which level we're talking about.
Right.
Like
I'm talking about punches in the mouth. I'm talking about
like socked in the mouth.
Yeah,
Intimate terrorism. We have to be clear about that distinction, because if your wife slaps you, you gonna divorce her? You guys got kids together? You guys have, or if your husband slaps you. See, there's something called frontal hijack or frontal lobe hijack.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Tiffany, I was going to explain it, but I love your voice. Explain it real quick, and then we're going to come right back to Hustle. Hustle, stay with us.
Your frontal lobe is your prefrontal cortex, which helps you with judgment. And so that's the part like that all neuropsychologists talk about isn't developed till you're 25, which is why like we really shouldn't be putting people in jail before that time for felonies and stuff. But there's a lot of different stimuli that can hijack your ability to use your frontal lobe, to be frontal lobe hijacked. There's a lot of stimuli. And for a lot of people, it's emotional triggers. So for me, I got hijacked. One, alcohol is any kind of chemical, you're already hijacking your prefrontal lobe.
You're done.
And car insurance companies have known this for years. Hence why if you get one little chemical violation, your insurance premiums go up because they already know about that.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, one, alcohol, but two was abandonment. Like my ex knew that all he had to do was threaten to leave, and it was like emotional dysregulation time. So that's what he was doing. He was verbally belittling me and then threatened to leave, and I was already intoxicated. Like the train came off all of the tracks. So for those people who have been a domestic violence, you've been in a situation where you've gotten physical with somebody, it's also your responsibility to own what were my triggers and how do I avoid this from happening.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of relationships where like, yep, once or twice we got frontal lobe, hijacked, but what was that hijack and how do I prevent that from happening? And so when I realized like this is a repetitive thing, like he is a repetitive antagonizer, I was like, this isn't working. Like now, because it made me more vulnerable, I shared with him what the hijack was, and he continued to use them then. And I was like, oh, this isn't healthy. I need to not be in this. This is not working. If I tell you what my trigger is and then you continue to use that trigger, that's a problem as well.
Wow. Yo, this
At what point do you say, I see my own trigger and that's a weakness for myself to work on?
No, right.
To avoid.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I definitely never want to be in so how I gained control is realizing abandonment is not a bad thing. If he wants to leave, let him leave. Bye.
I got to interject. No. It's not abandonment is not a bad thing, right? It's not that. It's more about see, this is where we get in trouble. Because I'm agreeing with Tiffany, but I'm just trying to reframe the wording for people who are listening, right? Because they might not understand. Like you have to take that even deeper. Like being by myself is meaningful.
Yes. Well, and he's allowed to take a timeout. Like him taking a timeout is one, not him abandoning me, but that's just deeper rooted because he had actually abandoned for 4 to 6 months for long periods of time previous in our relationship.
Right.
So that's why I use that term in my context. But in general, like especially women or men who have like actual abandonment issues, you need to realize your partner needing to take a timeout is not them leaving you.
And is normal and is healthy
and necessary.
Right.
There's a huge difference.
Tie that back to what I said though, because I said you can leave and forgive. I didn't say you could never ever come back. I didn't say y'all can't ever work things out.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think. But also a part of something that I feel we struggle with as people, social creatures, is detachment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Go deeper. Say more. That's why he's here. He's Hustle.
Because when you get bonded with somebody, there becomes a fear of not having them around anymore.
Yeah.
Something that develops there. And it's a tough thing because you want to do what's best for you. You want to do what's best for that other person. But at the same time, your feelings get involved, and you got to be smart about the future.
Listen.
If you see certain signs, go ahead.
Listen, Hustle, this is why I'm pushing you to come up with as many angles and perspectives to this as possible. Because this is such who was I talking to earlier today? This is such a personal kind of situation that domestic violence and your angle or your perspective you take is almost religious.
Yes.
Meaning, you know how motherfuckers are with their testimony. So a person with their testimony, they identify with Christianity now because of what they went through, and the testimony validates the belief. So this is a traumatic situation, whereas Christianity is a spiritual one. But this is a traumatic situation that causes you to testify and really reinforce whatever identity you choose from that situation. Some people choose the identity of victim. So that's why I'm pushing you to provide as many angles to this as possible so people don't get locked in one little space and go, oh, this is where I am and this is the result of what has happened. Right? There's so many lessons when you go through, like, for instance, I'm a hothead. So when I lose my cool, I see it as a spiritual demotion. Right? Like,
yeah.
Wow. I'm knocked down a few pegs.
Right.
And usually when I lose my cool, it takes me a while
to come back.
To recalibrate, because I'm always thinking, like, why did I do that? Yeah. How did I do that?
Right.
Did I take my eye off myself? When did I stop observing me? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So again, for anybody who is listening and have gone through something like this, I don't want you to feel like it's a narrow road with limited options.
Right.
That's why I'm pushing Hustle to say, yeah, you walk away for a time, or you walk away forever, depending on the situation, right? Or you guys work it out together.
That's what we haven't talked about yet. And I was going to say, we don't talk about in society enough, when is it okay to stay? And that's where I think that study is really important, that a lot of
It's not okay for Mimi to stay.
No, please, no,
right?
Jesus. When is it okay to stay?
Right.
We don't have those conversations. Like
Right.
50% of couples based on that study have experienced some kind of, basically common couple violence,
Right.
or intimate couple violence. And that could be, in my experience, like it was bear hugging, wrestling, preventing me from leaving, where I'm in the bathroom, I'm trying to get out and you're just bear hugging me, stopping me, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's really common in a lot of relationships, and we don't talk about it.
Right.
And when is it okay to stay? And I think it is okay to stay if you guys are communicating through it and it's not escalating. Like,
so with everybody here right now, let's figure out, and this is just a loose template. This isn't the way. Don't take this as gospel.
Oh, geez.
Right? But I want everybody, Hustle, you two, to contribute to a loose template of doing things.
Okay.
I would say number one, frontal hijack, that frontal lobe hijack. If your partner just lost his cool, maybe, depending on what he did or she did and the level or the extent of the damage, there's something could possibly be salvaged there. Right?
Yeah.
On the other end, if it's a power and control thing through violence,
right.
I'm controlling your wallet.
Right.
I'm controlling where you go, who sees you. I'm using force to abuse you emotionally. I'm using force to abuse you sexually. That's get the fuck out.
Right.
So we have to make sure, because what happened post OJ, everything is labeled as IT, intimate terrorism.
Right.
And not everything is intimate terrorism.
Right.
So
No.
Hustle, what would you do to be able to lay that framework down? Like, to distinguish between the different layers? And then I'm going to go to all the sisters.
Well, first, I want to say this, man, because I'm glad you brought that question to me. There's something that needs to be understood when you want to slow something down or stop something, right? I'm into like racing, motorsports, and things like that. And if I asked you what is the most important thing on a racetrack for somebody to know, or the most important thing in a race, you might say speed, horsepower, something like that. the most important thing is knowing how to use your brakes.
I like this. Here we
You
go.
know what I mean? When things are speeding up, when life is going by you, one of the most things that gets overlooked is how to slow things down, how to really stop and take a second to really look at the situation for what it is, so you can react in a way that's going to get you the desired results. You see what I'm saying? So that's my first thing. It's just figuring out how to stop, figuring out where your speed point is. So
this is big. This is big. Watch this. And to flow with him, to add another layer, respect when he's pumping the brakes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not a bitch because he's pumping the brakes.
Right.
He's not a coward and trying to leave the discussion because he's seeking to pump the brakes.
Right.
Finish, Hustle. Yeah, Hustle, go ahead, man.
Maintaining control of the situation, not one person over the other, but together controlling the situation as a unit. You feel me? It's a team-based thing. If you're looking at it as I'm trying to win over the next person or they're trying to win over you, that's where you get competition instead of completion.
Wow. Hustle. Damn. That's what we look for from Hustle every goddamn week.
That's right, Hustle.
Every week. Goddamn it, Hustle. If you don't call in, you're fired. We appreciate that info, bro. Thank you, man. Damn.
Thanks.
Yikes. Ugh. Mimi? What do you think?
Well, I think that when you see certain signs in a person, they're extra angry, like they're arguing about nothing. They're balling up their fists in anger. They're telling you, hey, I'll hurt you. I'll kill you. I'll break,
Believe that.
Yeah, you believe that. Listen to what someone tells you.
Yes.
Don't let it say, oh, not me. If this is how they're getting down, and even in the streets, your dude's coming on home and he's knocking dudes out and he's got a bad temper. Believe me, that temper didn't stay in the streets. The temper's at home with you too. He's not looking to expose that on you. But if he gets mad enough, that may also happen. So I think it's important to understand who you're with. You need to know who you're with. So, you know what I'm saying? If you're with a guy and he's always knocking people out, then that's who he is. And so therefore, you make him mad enough, you might get knocked out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then also you got to know your place. Like women, you shouldn't antagonize your man to want to hit you. Sometimes we kind of push the buttons. We know how to push different people's buttons. We know how to dial the freak. You know what I mean? So I say don't dial the freak. Definitely just find a way to minimize any type of arguments in your home. You know what I'm saying? Use my experience and other people's experience as a lesson to not deal with people who are angry and violent. Deal with people that have a more of a peaceful state of mind.
Yeah, I could smoke a bag of all of that. Tiff Ram.
Oh, goodness. Well, so Mimi said a lot of good things, but
of course.
I would like to speak towards specifically because I don't think we've driven it home enough. I mean, men get a lot of the conversation domestic violence, but I think it says a lot about the kind of women that are beating on men, and they really need to look inside themselves. One, if you find yourself consistently beating on a man, what is it about that kind of man that you keep wanting to be with that you find yourself beating on him all the time? It's a you thing. So these women that are beating on men, one, it's not funny, and two, it says a lot about their character. So that's a soul-searching thing on your part in regards to not even using your prefrontal. At that point, it's not a frontal lobe hijack anymore. If you're repetitively a woman who's hitting on a man, that's a repetitive behavior now. That's just how you respond to situations.
I just think that's man.
There's a difference between every once in a while and like I'm the girl who beats on my dude.
But you know what? I keep my hands to myself. I don't want you touching me. Don't touch my property.
Right.
I won't touch your property. Because to me, that escalates violence. If this is my favorite phone and you take it and you throw it against the wall and break it, the next thing that's going to happen,
we have a problem.
Right. And then one problem elevates to the next problem. And then the next thing you know, we're on Snapped. We're on channel news at 11. Film at 11.
Right.
You know?
At 11.
But I mean, we all know the women that are the perpetual degraders. Like there's certain women who take on the masculine role and they're perpetually beating on men, and that
degrader, emasculator,
yes,
disrespecter, perpetual line stepper.
Yes.
Because I was going to say earlier, something that we're missing in terms of the elevation of conflict in relationship is the respect of boundaries.
Yes. Right.
Like Mimi pointed out, a certain kind of guy, but that guy has boundaries.
Right. Yes.
And if a woman understands the boundaries of that guy, she can navigate around him.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying walking on eggshells. I'm just saying she knows the fences, what the triggers are, and she's savvy. Big Mama was savvy.
Right. Yes.
I'm just saying, I think it's a different kind of woman because she has a different kind of power today.
Right.
And we have to factor that element in. Like, ask yourself the question. A couple weeks ago, the #1 movie in the world was Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman in the movie is created as a god killer. And she's kicking nothing but dude ass in the movie, right? She whooping there. She killed a god. She killed a god in the movie. So what I'm saying is there's this new perspective that's kind of empowering, like bucking. You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas generations ago, and I'm not saying everything about the past generations were good, because it was a lot of bullshit that women had to deal with. But if you think about it, one of the elements of domestic violence is controlling the purse strings.
Yes.
Well, women are now in control of their own purse strings, and in a lot of situations have more money than they do.
Right.
And he can now be in a position where she's controlling his ass. He might feel like, God damn. And that may lead to violence if that isn't understood. That dynamic isn't rewritten, or you understand what I'm saying? Like, society is moving faster than our traditional beliefs.
Yes. Right.
Faster than we can kind of update them. So we need to figure out how to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, man. This show here. Ugh.
Yep.
How many Wonder Womans are out there?
Right.
If women were as strong as Wonder Woman, would they beat men's ass? Let's just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Some would.
Some
more than are now would, yes.
Would women be like, hey, motherfucker?
I know there would be a lot less taking shit.
What
though,
the fuck
sure.
you say, nigga?
Right.
Women would be out here wilding. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Not even stronger. As strong.
Right. They want to take
Ain't gonna be
you
no
on.
easy win, nigga. You gonna walk over here, you gonna limp back, motherfucker. It's gonna be some shit.
Well, I will say in my situation, that's kind of like that's where like it stayed verbal then. Like after that moment, I personally was more ashamed than anything, kind of like you were saying, Zoe, like you ruminate on it, you think about it every angle, like how could I possibly do that? I'm better than this. Oh my God. So that's what I did. But then, yeah, that's why things strictly stayed, like, to be honest, verbal at that point, because like he's like, oh crap, I knew she was strong, but like this bitch just picked me up by my neck. So that's the problem.
And had me up against the wall, like,
right.
Say something else, nigga.
Right. I'll also say like that happens in relationships where at least like the female has backup. You know, like I have 3 older brothers who also roll with some other people, like Mimi was talking about. And when I was younger, before I knew how to really handle myself, that was actually my warning to people, like, please don't do anything stupid to me.
Right.
Because I can control me, but I definitely for sure can't control them.
Right.
So, and that would be like my disclaimer, because my brother is in prison for life now. Like there's only a few things you go to prison for life for. So
we understand.
Right. So I would warn them, like, please be nice to me. Like,
right.
Because I can only control my actions. I can't control theirs.
Wow.
So that used to be an element of my younger relationships too.
And I'm gonna say, part of the reason why women manipulate the system and there is domestic abuse fraud,
yes,
is because men are stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So the natural reaction is, I'm gonna manipulate the system to keep your ass at bay.
Right.
So, I mean, these are like a lot of angles and twists and factors, and not everybody's domestic abuse situation is the same. We are not here to profess that we have all of the answers. We do not. But what we do have the really adaptability to do is to have a multifaceted conversation about it and start it. So if you have daughters and you want them to understand a little better, or if you've been through a domestic violence situation, this was the show to listen to.
Yes.
You know, because we hit you from a lot of different angles. There, and I always say this, some but all. We speak in generalities.
Mm-hmm.
Some but not all. No absolutes. Each situation is different, even though there's a pattern. Oh, yeah, always look for patterns.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm always watching
little
for.
Angle. Yeah, patterns. Woo, this was big. Oh, Tiff Ram, where can they find you, man? This was...
On all social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, at TiffTalkTV, TIFFTALK-TV, and at www.tiffanyram.com.
Love it, love it, love it. Me.
Hey, y'all. Y'all can find me on Twitter, Michelle A. Dukes. Check me out, y'all. And you can also find me on Instagram, Cat-Eyed Mimi. Check me out.
Mimi.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mimi. Well...
I love you too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can find Zoe Williams at IamZoeWilliams.com. Everything is there. The relationship dismount, my 2015 release, the pre-order for my 2017, hopefully 2017 release, the holographic relationship. Go pre-order a copy now. We have coaching. All types of stuff is there. My bookshelf. You know, I've read over 4,000 books.
Wow, amazing.
Wait, 4,000?
Yeah.
I was impressed when I just thought it was 1,000. Oh my goodness.
It's 4,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I have these books, and it's just taken me a long time to upload them all, you know, to the website.
Yeah.
So I'm giving the web designer maybe 10, 20 at a time. But a lot of these books I've read over and over and over again. Listen, go there, check out my bookshelf. Go check out the Community Empowerment, where I promote Black-owned businesses for free. I give them space on my website. So go check the Community Empowerment out. A lot of powerful businesses there. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you. And we'll be back Friday with yet another heater. Oh, wait a minute. Got a young lady in the building who is shadowing us. She may be new. She may be brought into the fold.
Oh, yeah.
And she's Cancer, water sign.
Hey.
Little smarty-arty, went to Arizona State.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
Hey.
you know, I like bringing smart people in. Don't be dumb.
No.
It
can't be dumb.
No.
So we're going to bring some new folks in, some new energy, just to get new perspectives and angles. I love to do that.
Yes.
And, hey, we'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Deuces.
Deuces.